So, Rich, I think one of the kind of elusive things to agents in our industry is this idea of a one call close. Obviously, we don't close every merchant like that. Some merchants need a more complex solution or there's a demo involved or whatever. But for a lot of these mom and pop shops and smaller merchant accounts, we can absolutely walk in, close the deal, and get it done in one call. And so I want to talk to you about this because I believe you're kind of the master of the one call close. Somewhat out of necessity, I think, with just the area that you cover in the territory. So maybe share first of all, the possibility of this. What percentage of your deals are one call close? How do you kind of know, hey, this is somebody that maybe is going to be a one call close? So give us a little context for that, and then we'll dive into some specific tips.
Yes. So when we walk into a business, we have to have the mindset that we are there to help them that day. So the decision to close a merchant is when we walk into the business. So if we go in and we're thinking, okay, I'm just going to present them and I'll give them my card and hopefully they'll call me later. That doesn't work. But if we go out with a sense of urgency, and this goes back to what we talked about before, I'm helping a bunch of businesses in the area today and we're setting that tone. This is what I'm doing out here today. I've been helping a bunch of businesses in the area. And then I'll give examples. Some of the people we're helping are using Brand X or Square or whatever company it is. And we have a couple new programs that we're allowing them to take advantage of today going forward. So I'm setting those words and using phrases like that from this day forward, from now on, today. This is what's going to happen today. And then what you want to do as you're presenting a merchant, you want them to visualize having our program already. And you can ask questions like, I see you have the old equipment right over there. We have ours. Yours is on the Ethernet. Which would you prefer, Wi-Fi or Ethernet? Oh, I'd like to have it on Wi-Fi. Do you like the idea that you can move it? Or yes, we do. So now they're visualizing having the program already. And we'll talk more about this when you get down to the end. The answers are yes, 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 all the way down to the end. And when you get down to it, it's called assuming the close,
Yeah.
which is very important.
Yeah, I love that. And I think a couple things you just hit on that I want to go back to here. One of them is something I actually learned from Tom Hopkins way back in the day, which was the idea of what he calls ownership questions. And so it's the idea of talking about the details. I think too many salespeople, Rich, they zoom out, right? And they get all like, oh, do you want this service? And they're very big picture. Whereas the people that actually sell, it's usually a conversation where they walk in and it's kind of like, I'm here to help you. We're going to get you set up. Let's talk about the details.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's much simpler. So, one question I do have for you though, give us some sense for expectation wise when you're going out in the field and over the course of, let's say, a month, what percentage of your deals, so you're probably writing 20, 25 deals a month. What are you expecting? What percentage of those are going to be a one call close versus you're going to have to go back or call them again or something like that?
So for me, that's my whole way of thinking. I'm going to say 90% plus are people that I'm writing up are one call closes. And
Wow.
that's what I expect out of myself. And when I get down to and when I get down to the end, and that's what amazes me about this business. And think about this, and this is what we train people to do. Imagine if you can get to the point where you can go anywhere in this country, this wonderful country that we live in, a town that you've never been into before, meet someone for the very first time. This is trust right here. That's why it's so important to be sincere and genuine. And when you walk in 25 minutes later to an hour later, they're giving you all their information because they're saying to you, James, I like you. I like what you have to offer. I believe you. I trust you. And that's what we're doing. So just getting to that point of
Wow.
being able to do that, now you have freedom. You're
Yeah.
in charge of your complete destiny. You have absolute freedom. But
Right.
it's a great opportunity. It's just going out there and just having that mindset. I present, I'm not a pushy guy. I mean, for those of you that know me, I'm genuine, I'm sincere. I believe in what I'm doing. I'm selling the story. I get down to the end, and we never miss a presentation in the end. We're actually missing them most of the time in the beginning
Right.
or as we're going through, because people will say, well, I keep missing them in the end. When we review what's going on, we find out it's something that they're doing along the way.
Right.
So if you're
Right.
getting we have to think about it, or I got to talk to my partner. I don't make decisions overnight, which I still get.
Right.
I'm still going to get that. I'm going to miss presentations. But if I follow exactly how the program works, I'm going to find that I'm going to close the majority of them if they're
Yeah.
the right merchant. Now, again, going back to what we've talked in previous calls, don't waste time. We're not in the convincing business.
I love
The
that.
time you waste with the wrong people stop you from being with the right merchant. I've done a bunch of classes on that. You could be in there convincing, banging your head up against the wall. Meanwhile, you got Tom's Joe's Auto Repair down the road saying, man, this state, we're paying too much money. And then you miss them.
Right.
So we're missing time with them when we're spending time with the wrong people.
I love it. Yeah, to some extent, sales is always a numbers game. I feel
Yes.
like you have to play the numbers game, but then it's like when you do get in front of the right merchant, you have to have a program that's going to work. You have to have a presentation that's going to work. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Let's dig in a bit more. So you talked about the opening already and the importance of setting the stage for the opening, right? How do you transition? And this was always a challenge even for me. I feel like I was probably doing 30 to 40% one call close. And for me, I feel like usually where I would lose it was that transition between I had a really good opening, I had a really good finish and presentation, but how do you get from the opening to then slide right into those details? How do you bridge that gap?
Yes, yeah, great point. The best salespeople are the best listeners, as we know.
Mhm.
Sometimes people have the mentality that, hey, I have the gift of gab. I can go sell ice to an Eskimo. Where the reality is, those type of people have the least amount of success. So we have to learn our script, but we have to learn to listen to the merchant to find out
Mm.
what's going to be the best program for them. For some representatives that are out like, I'm just cash discount. That's all I'm selling. I don't care what they say, where that program's great, but it's not for everybody. So we have to go in. How do we find out what their needs are? We have to find out through questions. So when I'm giving my opener, I'm getting that small talk going. How long you've been in the area, how long you've been in business, and then finding out what are you currently using right now. And they might say, well, we have this company. Okay, well, as a matter of fact, the majority of the people that I've been helping out have that same exact program. And the way we've been helping them, I use a lot of third person
Mm.
because typical salespeople are going to go in and say, you got to get rid of that company. They stink. And you don't use those tactics. That doesn't work at all. But if you have a completely different philosophy, this is why merchants love about us. And you
Mm.
give examples with that. So you're finding out what their pain points are, and then you listen to that. And then based on what they're saying, whether it's I don't want to pay for processing. I want to pay for processing. I just want to lower my fees. You find out and you just shake your head up and down and you listen to them.
Mm.
And then you compliment them on that. So I'll tell you what, it's wonderful to see a business that's staying on top of their business. I got to take my hat off to you. You guys are doing a great job. So when you recognize people, when you give them a pat on their back, now you're getting a nice comfort zone. You got a good rapport going. So as soon as I find out where they're at, I don't walk in with any books or anything like that. The only thing I want them is meeting is me. And I'll say, I'll
Mhm.
tell you what, let me run out to my car real quick, James. I'm going to grab my book or whatever you're presenting. Some of you, I'm old school. I got a book. Some of you got your iPads and everything. But let me grab my book. I'm going to show you exactly the different programs that we're helping everybody in the area. And I'll show you exactly how a merchant can qualify to get on this program today. And you notice I'm using that word today.
Yeah.
And that's
Love it.
how I slide into it. And then when I come back in, little bit of small talk, how long you guys been in business, build them up, get a little rapport going again, and then present the program that's going to benefit them. You don't have to have a long, drawn out presentation. I think salespeople tend to talk too much and
Mm.
they talk the merchant out of it.
Yep.
Find out there's some merchants that'll say, this is great. I want to take it. Yeah. But how do I get started? You're like, hold on. I still got 20 more pages of my pitch. So don't do that. Right? Because you talk them right out of it, know when to close them, and just listen to the merchant,
Mm.
be sincere, be genuine, help the merchant. And you're going to find if you do that from the beginning, everything flows together.
Yeah, I love it. Rich, this has been so helpful. I think it's so interesting having this conversation. I think, if the fact that, you're not convincing the merchant, the ones you're finding that are the right merchant, and you're closing those sales, 90% of your closes are going to one call close. That's a pretty incredible stat. And I love the advice that you've given today. So before we let you go, though, definitely share with us, excuse me, your information on how new agents in this industry can reach out to you. Maybe they have started in the industry, but they're not getting the support that they want, and they really want to coach. They want somebody that can mentor them. Talk about that a little bit and share how they can reach out to learn more.
Absolutely. Stories we're hearing all the time, and no knock at any other merchant service companies. If you're in the merchant service industry, it's a great opportunity. We've helped representatives that were struggling writing a couple a month, and now they're writing 10 a month, 12, 15 a month. And it's just kind of fixing a couple little things that are going to take them to that next level. We're constantly teaching, constantly learning. So if you're that type of representative, I'm really happy to help. As you know, that's my passion. 904 434 4635. Email me, payrock, Payroc, payrock Rich Norton at gmail.com. Happy to help, happy to get on a call with you and get to know you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Rich, for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you.